Under-17 qualifiers and this final round of the 2025 event. It's been a week-long competition in which 4 national teams have been vying to represent this region at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. It is a warm evening down here in the Caribbean. The temperature is just shy of 80 degrees for this final match, featuring the host nation of Trinidad and Tobago taking on Honduras. These are the 2 teams at the bottom of Group C. The U.S. has already won the group, so they have booked their spot at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. They have dominated this group, and now just this one final match to finish off this tournament here this evening. Trinidad and Tobago lost to the U.S. 3-0 this past Monday in a game where they were thoroughly outclassed. In fact, they were outshot 43-1 in that game. They then went on to lose 4-0 to El Salvador on Wednesday. So Trinidad and Tobago looking for their first point of the competition, while Honduras got their first point in their first game, tying El Salvador this past Monday 1-1. They then were shut out by the U.S. in a bigger loss than what Trinidad and Tobago suffered. It was 7-0 this past Wednesday. So both teams looking for their first wins and hoping that it will come in a consolation fashion here on the final night of this event. And now just awaiting the arrival of the teams out onto the pitch here at the Ato Boldon Stadium. 12 national teams starting this event in the final round of these women's under-17 qualifiers. 3 different groups, Group A, B, and C. This is Group C. And the U.S. topping their group after beating El Salvador earlier today. El Salvador in second place, and Honduras and Trinidad and Tobago at the bottom. Mexico also topping their group in Group A. Canada the same in Group B. The typical teams you would expect here in Concacaf to be leading the way, also doing the same here in this year's tournament. And as you can gather, not a huge crowd at the Ato Boldon Stadium. But the ones that are here, awaiting the arrival of the teams led by the officials onto the pitch as we close out this week-long event. The 9th Concacaf Under-17 Women's Qualifiers. But the first edition that actually aligns with the new annual FIFA Women's World Cup Under-17 calendar. So trying to rearrange things so it fits better structurally in the calendar year. And while this is the final match of the final round, this event began with a 22-team round 1, and that was back at the end of January. After round-robin play, the 6 group winners and the 2 best second-place finishers progressed to this final round, and they then joined the Confederation's 4 best-ranked teams, which were Canada, Haiti, Mexico, and the U.S. for this final round in this 12-team one-week event. So following the anthems, time now for a look at the lineups and the meeting of the captains for the coin toss with the officials at midfield. And first up for Honduras, Maria Jimenez in goal for Coach Mario Abadia. Evelyn Ordonez is their prominent striker. Up top, number 18 in white this evening. Honduras wearing the white, Trinidad and Tobago in the red. And both teams just about fully healthy, no serious. And the officials, led by head referee Delia Bradley from Guatemala. Now set to connect with the two captains. Natalia Garcia for Honduras. And Mieling Chong for Trinidad and Tobago. Quick coin toss, and now the starting 11 for the host nations. Our Amy is in goal. Ariel Martin, the 9 up top, wearing the number 10 in red. Ayana Russell is the head coach for Trinidad and Tobago here this evening at the Ato Boldon Stadium in Trinidad and Tobago. Cuba is the host city here. And the Ato Boldon Stadium, the host site of all matches in Group C here over the course of this past week. Group A was played in Toluca, Mexico, and Group B was in Managua, Nicaragua. So we are set to go with the final match of this week-long competition here in Group C, and at the final round of the Concacaf Under-17 Women's Qualifiers. Trinidad and Tobago will assume possession here first. No wins and 2 losses through their first 2 games of group play, while Honduras sits 1 point ahead of them in 3rd place in the group, with just 1 point from a tie with El Salvador. They lost to the U.S., as did Trinidad and Tobago. So the host nation here of TNT, they are trying to secure their first point in their final game after a pair of losses, one to the U.S. and one to El Salvador. Ayana Russell is the head coach for Trinidad and Tobago, but she's got some work to do. In their 3-0 shutout loss to the U.S., they were outshot 43-1 and had only 17% of the possession. They were also handled very easily by El Salvador in their most recent match, outshot 28-6 overall. Still looking for their first point as well as their first goal. They've been beaten on aggregate 7-0. Well, for Honduras, their head coach is Mario Abadia. His team, with just 1 goal so far through the first 2 games, they were taken to the woodshed by the U.S. 7-0. Also tied El Salvador 1-1. That's the game with their only goal so far that accounts for their only point in the competition to this stage. First corner is an in-swinger for Honduras, and it will be played out, and they'll do it once again. Trinidad and Tobago with some words for the official here. Let's see what they're going to call. Well, this is going to be a penalty. So a penalty on that corner. Another look. What if they're calling a handball? Hard to tell from that perspective exactly what the ruling is, but this is going to be a penalty for Honduras here in the 3rd minute of the game. And here is Alexandra Merriam to try and give Honduras the early lead. And she slots it into the corner, and Honduras, an unlikely early advantage here at Trinidad and Tobago. Off the first corner kick of the game. Well taken penalty. And Miriam with her first goal of the competition, as she beats Zara Aime, the keeper for Trinidad and Tobago, and it is 1-0. Boy, I'd like to have another look at the replay on that corner. It was hard to tell if there was some kind of a foul or if it was just a handball. It seemed innocent enough at first. It looked like it was going to be just cleared back over the inline for another corner kick, but instead now Honduras with their second goal here in round robin play and the 1-0 lead. So Trinidad and Tobago from bad to worse here, as they still have not scored in a game to this point and now find themselves trailing in their final game. Trinidad and Tobago, a team that typically does not possess the ball much, and Honduras not much better in that regard, but they figure to probably see more of the ball here tonight given the skill set of both of these teams. Neither team impressive though in working any kind of combinations or building through the midfield into the final third in their first couple of outings. I mean, if you look at all four games collectively that these two teams have played, it is really one-sided in favor of their opponents in each and every game. They were never really all that competitive. Even when Honduras tied El Salvador 1-1, they were outshot 6-2 in terms of shots on target and 16-10 overall. Didn't have much possession. But they have some early optimism here in this game this evening. This will be a throw in for Trinidad. Actually, they're going to call it a free kick instead. So foul whistle on the bump there as the ball was going out of bounds. So far, Trinidad has not spent much time in the Honduras end of the field, and they won't do it much here either. That's Oriel Martin, dispossessed. Honduras looking to strike quickly. Denise Madrid taking on two defenders. Now, this is a tournament over the years that has been dominated by just a few teams. Most notably the United States. In the 8 previous tournaments, the U.S., the most decorated team with 6 titles. Canada and Mexico are the other 2 countries that have won the championship here, with Canada winning way back in 2010. Mexico, their only title came in 2013, but the U.S. with those 6 wins, far and away the best team in this women's Under-17 competition. And the U.S. in the same group as both of these teams and winning the group earlier today with their victory over El Salvador. Perfect through group play. Not the best throw-in. Does the job, though. Now changing the point of attack. Honduras trying to get it organized just outside the box, and long volley played in, handled by Amy in goal. Zara Amy with a quick wake-up call, having to face a penalty inside the first 3 minutes of this match. Madrid. Now it comes back to Santos. Goes vertical down that right-hand flank and run down by Jocelyn Sanchez, who has one of the 2 goals that Honduras has scored here this week, but she has it taken off her foot. Sanchez getting the only goal in the tie with El Salvador last Monday. And a free kick. Honduras giving the ball away here in this 10th minute, leading 1-0. One thing that's interesting when you compare these two teams so far over their first 2 games, their games with the United States were remarkably similar in that they were both shut out. Honduras lost 7-0, Trinidad and Tobago lost 3-0, but they were both outshot by similarly wide margins. The U.S. outshot Trinidad 43-1 and Honduras 38-1. And the possession disparity was exactly equal. 83% for the U.S. and 17% for Honduras and then Trinidad when both of those teams played the United States. And since the U.S. is the team that has won this group and is advancing to the Under-17 World Cup, and this is a game that will not feature a team moving on in any capacity. This is just a game to finish out the group. This is a game for whatever you want to call it. Pride, a positive vibe going forward, some kind of team spirit, atmosphere, a springboard into the future. Statistically, it will not count for anything. So this is a game where sometimes coaches and teams really have to kind of dig deep and find that additional source of motivation. Now Honduras with space in the midfield, leading 1-0. Ball slotted through, but under hit. That was a good chance for Denise Madrid, but the ball just couldn't quite make it to her. A little more juice on that pass, and she could have been in on goal. And that'll be out for a Honduras throw-in. Now the big prize in these Concacaf Under-17 women's qualifiers is, of course, qualification for the FIFA Women's World Cup at the Under-17 level. And it's pretty simple. The 3 group winners and the best second place finisher here in this final round are the ones who qualify for that World Cup in Morocco later this year. So 4 teams in all from the 3 groups that we have here this week. Throw in for Trinidad. And the first time they've really been this deep into the final third. Volleyed away, and we'll do the throw in once again. And now Trinidad will get their first corner kick of the match. I don't remember what happened on Honduras' first corner. Turned into a penalty. That's accounted for the only goal of this match so far. Oriel Martin will provide the service. Martin fires near post. And the first save of the game for Maria Jimenez. So she guides it out for another corner kick. Scoots all the way through untouched. This is where Honduras can be dangerous. They have pace on the flanks. This competition actually started at the end of January with round-robin play among 6 different groups. And the winners of each group, Costa Rica, El Salvador, this Honduras team, Nicaragua, Panama, and Puerto Rico, plus the 2 second-place finishers, which were Bermuda and Trinidad and Tobago, they all progressed to this final round. And then they linked up with the Confederation's 4 best-ranked teams, Canada, Haiti, Mexico, and the U.S., and that's given us this 12-team final round, which has been played out over this last week. 4 teams in 3 different groups. So 4 teams per group, 12 teams altogether. And the U.S., El Salvador, Honduras, and Trinidad and Tobago in this Group C here at Ato Boldon Stadium in Trinidad and Tobago. These are the 2 bottom teams from that group playing their final game of the tournament here tonight. Just over a quarter of an hour gone by, and Honduras with the 1-0 lead, courtesy of a penalty from Alexandra Merriam, who converted after the call was made in the 2nd minute off a corner kick. You'll see Sevilla surveys the landscape and plays it long. Honduras largely controlling the tempo here in the first quarter hour. That'll be a free kick for Trinidad. Honduras forced to defend for one of the first times in this match. Trinidad trying to get some players up the pitch to press. And now Jimenez will scoop it up. Now, as I mentioned, the U.S. has secured their place at the top of this Group C. They have booked their spot in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Morocco as a result. And over in Group A on this final day of competition, you have Mexico hammering Haiti 12-0. That's a final. So Mexico has now joined the U.S. in also qualifying for the Under-17 World Cup. No surprises here this week in the Concacaf Under-17 Women's Qualifiers. Both the U.S. and Mexico taking care of business as everyone expected, and doing so in convincing fashion. Not having much trouble whatsoever. So the U.S., the 6-time winners of this event, Mexico, a 1-time victor. And they have both done what is necessary to secure their spots at the upcoming World Cup. 20th minute here at the Ato Boldon Stadium. Problem for Trinidad, like a lot of teams that don't have the same skill level nor technical acumen as their opponents across the pitch. You get a little impatient when you do get possession. Sometimes you play the ball forward too quickly and aimlessly. And you concede possession much too easily. Trying to chip it forward here, but again, wayward effort. And you have to be careful against a team like Honduras that can counter quickly. When you do give up the ball, you know that they might hit back immediately. So that sort of transition defense becomes critical. This will be kept in though. Sealy on the cutback. And it's going to be blocked out of bounds for a throw-in. Sealy, who plays for FC Dallas on the club side. Now Honduras in space. It's crafty footwork from Madrid, but then she plays it out. Free kick for Trinidad. And they would be better served by just trying to string together some simpler passes here, just to keep possession, make Honduras work a little on defense. Here is Martin 1v1. Now drops it back. Sealy. And not much of a threat in the end. Halfway through this opening frame, 1-0 in favor of Honduras. The only goal coming from Alexandra Miriam on a penalty kick in the 3rd minute. And now a free kick for Honduras here, as Sanchez was fouled from behind. Served in here. A lot of white shirts high up the field here. It could be an opportunity if Trinidad can break through the lines to be dangerous getting forward, knowing that Honduras is committing so much to the final third on their own. But they have to be able to possess the ball, break through, and have some kind of architecture to their attack. It's good control, good turn. Honduras looking for an entry point here. Honduras is going to get their first corner kick from this side of the pitch as Yearwood ushers it out. The last time they had a corner kick, they wound up with a penalty after. They'll go short. Now served in, headed wide. And this will roll out for a throw-in for Trinidad. Honduras trying to advance into the final third once again. Trinidad's defense has been fairly solid on that back line, not allowing any shots on goal other than from the penalty earlier. In fact, from the run of play, Trinidad has actually had the only shot on target to this point. pass behind its intended target, Martin. And just stepping on the toe. That counts for the foul here. And this is going to draw a conversation from a referee here. Evelyn Ordonez not necessarily happy with the foul that she was whistled for. The free kick, relatively harmless from the middle of the pitch. Floated in, but headed clear. With 15 minutes left to go here in this first half, Merriam the goal in the 3rd minute from the penalty spot. They're only scoring so far, and not many quality chances for Eton generated to this point in the match either. It's been relatively physical. Trinidad with the only shot on target, but Honduras with more possession and the better of the run of play. Well, Honduras has been playing some balls directly through the air and over the top, but they'd be better off just doing what they're doing right here, keeping it on the ground, playing between the lines, diagonal passes, and trying to orchestrate offense that way. There are openings there to be had. Long shot in on Amy. And a free kick. Haven't had many set pieces that have been from anywhere close to a dangerous spot. That's a good aggressive move to earn the free kick from Juliana Meyer. And this is not one where you can go for goal, but at least you can play it in and maybe get a chance in the box with a second ball. This is the first free kick from anywhere close to that sort of range, and Seeley will deliver. Headed straight up into the air. Honduras using their physical strength to work it out of danger. Now another free kick out near midfield. And now Honduras in transition after the giveaway in possession. Oh, but once again, Trinidad recovering nicely. Merriam, the goal scorer from the penalty spot earlier, run off the ball. It's one thing Trinidad has done well here. They have been very strong defensively on that back line. And anytime Honduras has run at them, they've recovered extremely well. Inside of the final 10 minutes now left in this first half. Has not been a first half of many quality chances for either team. Oh, it's a terrific pass, but just slightly too much on it. But tremendous vision, threading the needle. But it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of scenario that is a pass that had to be hit with that kind of pace to make it through a series of defenders, but then winds up being too much for the target to run onto. If you hit it at the proper weight, it probably doesn't make it through to begin with. A lot of balls just floating in and easily handled by Zara Amy. And goal for Trinidad and Tobago here in this first half. And now a chance for Honduras, maybe their best of this first half. Martin fires a shot deflected just over the top of the bar. And they're going to say that was not deflected, actually, so it'll be a goal kick. And just getting a little too much underneath it. Now Honduras here in these last few minutes trying to exploit Trinidad and Tobago, and they win the ball here high up the pitch after the goal kick. And shot fired well wide. But Honduras kind of going through the gears now and getting more chances as this first half starts to wind down. Honduras once again looking to build. Now Santos had fallen down. That kind of killed that opportunity. Trinidad trying to play here in transition, but look how many white shirts are behind the ball. Here in the 40th minute, hard for the host nation to get anything started. And now the referee steps in here, and there's some words and some pushing and shoving after the end of this play. Kanika Rodriguez here for Trinidad and Tobago, number 15, really came in aggressively, and as a result, she'll be the first one who is issued a card on the night. Now the biggest dust-up we've had so far. Long ball played in, but not enough white shirt in the vicinity. Corner kick, though, for Trinidad. And they get a corner kick for Trinidad that is not effective whatsoever. It's actually better for Honduras, allowing them an opportunity to try and play on the counter, but that goes wasted. Only goal coming from the spot, back in the 3rd minute. And now down to the final 3 minutes, plus stoppage time here at the end of this first half. Things getting somewhat chippy here in the last 10 minutes or so of this first half. Free kick for Trinidad. They need to generate something here. Haven't had really many opportunities whatsoever. It will be Martin, their designated set piece taker. And this is the closest they've had a free kick from so far in this first half. But so far, any free kicks or corners have not been nearly dangerous enough. Now Martin is going to go for goal. And Jimenez makes the stop and is then fouled afterwards. That was Mia-Ling Chong from Orlando City's Academy, who will be issued a card as a result. And the keeper Jimenez still down. Just a totally unnecessary foul here and well worthy of a card. Oh, yeah. That's almost bordering on a red, a straight red. Well, you could certainly make the case for the yellow, but that'll act as a de facto hydration break here in the 45th minute. We'll get 2 minutes of stoppage time as well coming up next. And there you see the 2 minutes that will be added, and maybe more now with this stoppage. Halfway through the stoppage time here. Almost to the end of the stoppage time now. And we'll see how much added additional time may be put on because of the injury to the keeper. Maybe a final chance for Trinidad here at home as they look for the equalizer at the end of this first half. So a throw in with one of the final plays of this first half. So an opportunity here for Oriel Martin. Corner kick. Could be the last play of the half, but they haven't done anything with their corner so far from this spot in this first half. They go short once again. Now Martin trying to go 1v1. Plays it across, off the post on a deflection. And then Karam's around, loose in front, and they score! In stoppage time, Trinidad and Tobago have leveled. Well past the initial allotted stoppage time. Trinidad off a bouncing ball, caromming different ways. Diem Seeley from FC Dallas punches it in. And the host nation have tied this game at 1. Now Martin did a lot of the heavy lifting here, and then her shot off a knee, then off the post, pinballs around, and then falls right to Seeley. Honduras just doing a poor job of clearing. Should have never even let it get that far. And some might question the referee for letting this first half go on this long. So much past the stoppage time. And now that is the final play of the opening 45. Trinidad, their first goal of the tournament. And they'll take all the momentum into the locker room here. With 1 half left to play, it is Honduras and Trinidad and Tobago tied at 1 here at Ato Boldon Stadium. Both teams on their way back for this second half. And we will have a substitution coming up for Honduras to start the second 45. So it will be Allison who will come in to start the second half for Honduras, the only substitution for either team. And Chelsea Farmer will be the one to come off. Final 45 of this tournament for both of these teams at this Concacaf Women's Under-17 event. Both looking for their first victories. Trinidad getting just their first goal at the end of that first half. The two teams at the bottom of Group C and fighting for a third place finish. Whoever wins this match would finish in third. The loser would be at the bottom of the group in fourth. If it ends in a draw, Honduras would finish in third ahead of Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad coming in without a point so far after two losses, one to the U.S. and one to El Salvador. Honduras coming into this game with 1 point after drawing with El Salvador and losing to the United States. And we are tied at 1 here after the opening half of play. So if it should end this way, Honduras would finish in third and Trinidad and Tobago in fourth place. Neither team will advance to the Under-17 World Cup from this group. And that honor belongs to the United States, which won the group, courtesy of their final victory earlier today over El Salvador. And the first foul coming here in this second half, going against Trinidad. And the question at the outset of this frame, will that goal in stoppage time that equalized for Trinidad and Tobago at the end of the first half, will that momentum carry over? Will it provide somewhat of a springboard here in the second half, both psychologically and materially on the pitch? Or will Honduras be able to recover after perhaps resetting in the locker room at the break? Sometimes it can go either way. When you get a goal like that right before halftime, the momentum does in fact carry over. Other times it can be construed as the worst time to score, because then you have that natural break in the game and a chance for both teams to kind of reset and for that adrenaline and the momentum to kind of die down. So sometimes you never quite know which way it's going to swing at the outset of the next half. Trinidad at least coming out here showing more possession here and the ability to work the ball and maintain possession in longer stretches than they did for most of that first half. Especially in the early going, they were just giving the ball away anytime they won it back from Honduras. First two games of this group play, Trinidad shut out by the U.S. and El Salvador. Honduras shut out by the U.S. and tying with El Salvador. Neither team with a win so far. It'd be way here this evening. The two goals in that first half really bookending the frame. The first came on a penalty in the 3rd minute, and then the second goal came in the last minute of stoppage time. In fact, it was the final play of the first half overall.
No more, no more.
Honduras not able to get on the ball for any extended period so far here in the first few minutes of this second half. And now a player down for Honduras. Looks like Noemi Maza. That's Maza there, number 13. I don't know exactly what happened there. They're working on her left foot, though. Looks like maybe it just got stepped on or something. She will limp it off. And again, it rolls out for a throw. So a lot of play, really not doing much, just in the middle of the pitch. Feels like it kind of stagnated a little bit since that last. Trinidad and Tobago was actually doing pretty well in terms of working passes and maintaining possession, but then we got that foul, that injury break, and things have kind of been stop-start here in the last few minutes. Now a free kick. That's a foul throw-in. In any event, it winds up as a free kick for Trinidad. And it's Seeley, the goal scorer, who will try to play it in. Comes up short of the box. Curled up the line. Oh, but then the player falls down. Now a chance for Trinidad. Seeley here on the cutback. Space in the middle. Better patience this time from Trinidad and Tobago. Ball kind of got tangled in the feet, though, of Chong, and she lost it. Now Honduras, best chance to counter so far in this second half. Now on the run, Jeslyn Sanchez, the overlap. Laying it off, Meza, and she has it taken off her foot. Just waited a little too long that time. That would have been a foul, but they play the advantage, and now the whistle does blow to stop play, and it will be a free kick for Trinidad. That's a heavy foul. That could have certainly been a card. A yellow issued there, but just a common foul. Celia again. She's been the most active player for Trinidad so far in this second half. Finds Sonny Wilson. She clips it in, but right to Maria Jimenez in goal. Trinidad starting to kind of work their way into this game. More rhythm, more flow, more pace than what we saw in the first half. And so far in the second, they have looked like the more dangerous of the two teams. 10 minutes gone by. Looking for their first lead of this tournament. Now Martin plays it into the channel, but Martinez reads it well. They've kind of flipped things around from the story in the first half where Trinidad and Tobago were having trouble staying on the ball. And now it's Honduras that can't keep possession. It's a good run, but the pass under hit. Good cutback though for it. Goodrich though playing very robust defense. Towards the back post. And can't quite get there. It'll be a goal kick. Mexico with a thumping of Haiti earlier, locking in their first place position over in Group A, joining the U.S. from here in Group C as group winners and qualifying for the Under-17 World Cup later this year in Morocco. The U.S. playing El Salvador earlier today here at the Ato Boldon Stadium, and wrapping things up in Group C to secure their spot. And now this is the final game of the night on the final day here at Trinidad and Tobago. Honduras trying to go more direct this time. And that's offsides. So, believe it or not, the first offsides call of this entire match. Just a step ahead of the play. On this free kick, Trinidad had an opportunity to try and play it into the final third and create something off a second ball. Sonny Wilson. That was volleyed the wrong way. Meyer goes backwards. Now Sealy, nowhere to go. 60th minute here at Ato Boldon Stadium. Both of the goals coming back in the first half of play. A game for third place in Group C. And now Honduras take it over and trying to run. And bodies colliding. It'll wind up as a corner kick. And that is a good run from Allison Suazo, the second half sub playing in New Orleans, and the only sub we've had so far in this game, and earning the first corner kick for Honduras here in the second half of play. Caitlin Darwin getting back defensively for Trinidad with half an hour left to go. Hit high in the air, punched up, headed back towards goal. And a throw in for Honduras. Wise decision from Santos to let it roll out. Meza on the throw. And not a good one. Honduras scampering around to keep it in the final third. Good overlapping run, and just blasted out for a throw-in. Honduras finally coming alive. More in this second half. Slow start, but now getting up to speed. Foul on a free kick. This will draw a conversation. Sanchez has the referee come over. Thought this was just a little too much and unnecessary. Well played defensively by Meza. And then she's fouled. Oh, and now Meza upset with Martin. And she's going to get a card for that. Not happy. She had to know that was coming. She went right after her, so Martin's going to get a card as well. Both go in the book here. It was a hard challenge. I don't know if it warranted that kind of response from Meza there. Got a lot of the ball, though. So long free kick for Honduras here in the 65th minute. That's a good change of fields, but needed more elevation on that pass. Madrid swings it back over to the left flank. Trying to get a cross in. Volleyed out by Dervin. And a throw coming. Honduras in search of their first shot on target here in this second half. Their only goal coming from the penalty spot back in the 3rd minute. Merriam with the penalty. Sealy answering in first half stoppage time. And one apiece here in the final game in Group C at the Concacaf Women's Under-17 Qualifiers. The U.S. has already won this group, and they will get the spot in the World Cup from this Group C. Honduras with a chance, and it's fired over the top. That's the best chance they've had so far in this second half, and just skied by Jaslyn Sanchez, looking for her second goal in the first 3 games. And a substitution, the second of this second half for Honduras, as it is going to be Casey Chirios coming in and Sanchez coming out. So that was her last opportunity of this game. So Chirios, second sub. The first coming at the start of the second half. That was really the best chance I think either team has had so far in this second frame. A lot of idling in the middle of the field for both these squads. That's a good tackle. Throw in for Honduras. Good timing defensively there by Yearwood. She has been a rock on that back line for the host nation here tonight. The only thing statistically to play for between these two teams is 3rd place in this group. And a player down back in midfield for Trinidad now. Here's a look at the penalty from the 3rd minute that gave Honduras the early lead. Following a corner kick. That's their only goal so far. And then The tying goal from Sealy coming in the 4th minute of first half stoppage time. The only 2 goals we've had so far here in this game. But Trinidad just ecstatic, their first and only goal so far in this tournament, which they have been hosting over the course of this last week. Now just about 20 minutes left to play, plus whatever stoppage time we have at the end. That's the goal scorer for Trinidad. Pouncing on the rebound, very opportunistic. Meanwhile, the goal scorer for Honduras from the penalty spot. Now, the one thing this game has been lacking overall is a volume of really genuine offensive chances. Honduras applying the pressure. Trinidad trying to escape. More substitutions on the way here. It's going to be the first 2 of the match for Trinidad. So Jessica Nesbitt is going to come on, as is Zakalia Dennis. Sonny Wilson will exit. And also Kanika Rodriguez going out. So now each team with 2 subs so far here in the second half. Trying to get some more offensive-minded players onto the pitch as both teams go in search of what they hope will be the game-winning goal and what would be the first and only win for either team here this week. Trinidad, no wins and 2 losses. Honduras, 1 loss and 1 draw. Now Martin with pace. Ganged up on. And this will be coming out. She did the bulk of the work to earn the goal for Trinidad at the end of that first half after a short corner and then creating the opportunity that Sealy eventually cleaned up and hammered into the back of the net. Could be dangerous. But once again, the pace for Trinidad defensively has been the difference. This is Nesbitt, who just came in as a sub, fresh legs, and wins that duel. Now Martin trying to break free against 2 defenders. And just swarmed. But it will be a Trinidad throw. And maybe trying to do too much on her own. And now a player down for Honduras here. And that is Noemi Meza. I think she just got landed on by Martin, either stepped on or her body weight landed on her. With just over a quarter of an hour left to go now. It's taken a while for them to work on Meza here. Longest injury timeout we've had in this game. She'll have to be carried off. So it looks like we could have our third substitution for Honduras coming up. Again, it was not a, well, let's see. Are we going to get a yellow card to the bench? It's going to be a throw-in for Trinidad, but a yellow card for the bench here. Interesting. Something was said. Another throw-in. A little chippy on both ends here. And both sides running out of time here if they want to get that elusive first win. Trinidad looking for the opening. Poor touch. If you look back over the previous two games and the majority of that first half here tonight, and then look at what we're seeing here in the second half, this is probably the best half we've seen Trinidad play all week long here at home. But can they get rewarded with the go-ahead goal? Now Martin gonna fire from long range, and she lobs it just wide. Almost caught the keeper Jimenez off her line. We've had more free kicks at midfield for Trinidad than I can really remember one team having, from almost right at the midfield stripe in one single game. And here's a substitution now for Honduras. And as I mentioned, Noemi Meza, who was injured, does have to come out of the game, and Stephanie Mercado is going to be the one to replace her. And this one is lofted all the way into the 18. Headed down, and then the volley. I think that took a deflection. Well, either way, it's going to be a goal kick. Mieli Chong just really didn't get all of it. And now in the 80th minute. Blasted away. Again, no scoring so far in this second half from either team. Both goals coming in that first frame. One at the beginning and one at the very end. And this should be a corner kick. Indeed it is. Haven't had many of these here in the second half. Just the second for Honduras. In swinger, headed up into the air, and we will do it once again. Let's do it a third time. Pretty much same delivery and the same result. Miriam, who got the goal on the PK in the first half. We'll try it one more time. I should not have said one more time because now we will do it another time. Fourth straight. She's been consistent with her delivery though. You just need somebody near post to take advantage. Yet again, this time headed back into play. Miriam runs it down. Trying to go 1v1, but outpaced. Now Trinidad and Tobago on the move. Oh, but a bad giveaway there. Well, maybe they'll salvage it. The ball was kind of overrun by Honduras, and then there is a giveaway. Trinidad and Tobago just too impatient getting forward. They could have gotten the numbers up the pitch and been more resourceful with that, but that's a big opportunity that goes by the boards. Honduras really turning the screws defensively here. Trying to go long. Headed clear with half a dozen minutes plus stoppage time now left to go. Trinidad trying to regroup in their own end. Final minutes here. Neither of these teams getting a place at the World Cup. Nothing statistically to play for except for third place in their group and maybe just to finish this tournament feeling good about their game. Neither team has a win. And if it should end this way, Honduras would finish in third and Trinidad and Tobago at the bottom of the group in fourth. Lofted all the way in. Volleyed high up into the air. Trinidad attacking down that left-hand flank. Good overlapping run. Martin in pursuit. Needs to wait for some help. Sealy cutting in. Martin plays it for Sealy. She has to turn around at the top of the 18, and then it's taken away. Play taking just a little too long to develop. They had to go quicker. Now space opening up in transition in the middle of the pitch for Honduras. Here's the second half sub, Ellison Suazo. Knocked out for a Honduras throw-in. This one comes in, headed down, and really wasn't solid contact. That should have been a better opportunity than it was. Here's a long-range effort that's blocked. Honduras, though, really trying to turn up the pressure. Now, bounced around in front, kick save made by Annie. Rebound loose, ping-pongs around, and finally rolls over the end line for a goal kick. Wow, what a sequence. Best opportunity either team has had in this second half. Golden chance for Honduras, and they cannot convert. Look at how close this was. Ninth minute here. Honduras really pressing for that game-winning goal. Trinidad kind of back on their heels a little bit. So 1 minute plus stop time, and it looks like we will get about 4 minutes of stoppage time total here. Player down, though, for Honduras, and that could add to it. I mean, not the ideal time with Honduras really kind of taking control here late. There's one of the subs. Trinos slow to get up. Now she took a hard hit there, but it was Trinidad and Tobago earlier in this second half that was really dictating the rhythm and the flow, but now here in the last 10 minutes or so, it has been all Honduras. It's been their best spell in the run of, I think, through the entire game. And now finally starting to create some chances. At the end of the opening frame, it was Trinidad that got the goal in stoppage time. Will it be Honduras this time around for the game winner? We are past the 90, and 4 minutes will be added. And in fact, they're going to tack on another to what we were indicated would be the stoppage time. It's going to be 5 minutes altogether. 5 minutes of stoppage time. No goals so far in this second half. Long ball in, takes a bounce. Batted up into the air, and it rolls in! What a goal from a set piece! Honduras in stoppage time. That could be one of the goals of the tournament. Took a fortunate bounce, but nonetheless, that might be the game winner, and what a way it would be to end this tournament. Wow. As the referee puts the ball in play here to restart, it is just floated in by Santos and batted up into the air, but it had the backspin, and that's why Amy probably should have come out to play this one, kind of in no man's land. And when she batted it up into the air, she needed to punch it with more authority over the top of the crossbar, but by keeping it in play, it had the backspin to bounce in. And what do you know? A stoppage goal at the end of the first half, also one here at the end of the second half, but this time it could be the final blow that delivers Honduras their first victory here of the tournament. Oh, and what a total letdown this would be for Trinidad and Tobago, playing pretty well for most of this second half, looking at times more likely to get that second goal, but now conceding a very tough goal at the outset of stoppage time. And Honduras with the 2-1 lead here. Still 3 minutes left to go. As Honduras now looking very likely to secure a third place finish in Group C. Honduras. Does Trinidad have one more flurry left in them? From midfield once again. 2 minutes remaining. And trailing 2-1. Line drive scoots through. Jimenez responds. Trinidad and Tobago about to fall to 0-3 here this week, hosting this tournament. Honduras waiting to make a substitution, trying to get Paulo Ramirez Guardiola on. That'll happen or not before the end of this game and the final whistle. About 90 seconds away. Just a killer for Trinidad. And here comes Guardiola now. So Alexandra Merriam, who scored the game's first goal in the 3rd minute from the penalty spot, will exit. Final minute of stoppage time. Such a killer blow for Trinidad to concede that goal. Not only the way it happened, but when it happened. Half a minute remaining. Here is Guardiola just in off the bench. Honduras takes it away once more. Now Ame in goal is going to have to launch it forward. Final seconds. Now Martin. Long ball played ahead, over the top. And Honduras recovering defensively just when they needed. Now taking it to the flag, killing time. We are past the allotted stoppage time. It'll be a free kick. So the final whistle any moment now. And there it is. It is over in Trinidad and Tobago. Honduras gets their first and only win of this tournament. They score in stoppage time at the end of the second half following a third-minute penalty, and they defeat the hosts 2-1. Miriam and Santos bracketing this game really for Honduras after Trinidad's only goal came in stoppage time at the end of the first frame. So Trinidad will finish with a record of no wins and 3 losses in 4th place, and in last in Group C. Honduras finishes in 3rd place with 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 draw, with the final tonight 2-1 Honduras here in Trinidad and Tobago. And time now for the highlights from this one here this evening at Ato Boldon Stadium. Now this was in the opening 3 minutes. Off a corner, the first of the game, a penalty is called. Alexander Miriam stepping to the spot and converting in the corner to make it 1-0 Honduras. A surprise from the outset here. And it was very physical throughout that opening half of play as well. A lot of pushing and shoving, several cards in that first half as well. And both issued cards. A lot of extracurricular, that stuff that happens after the play. Trinidad no doubt frustrated at times, but they finally get the goal that they were searching for, their first goal of the tournament. Stoppage time at the end of the first half. Seeley pounces on the loose ball, and that makes the difference to tie this game going into the locker room at the break. So Trinidad had all kinds of momentum there. And they tried to keep it going at the outset of the second half, and were doing pretty well. They were dictating the pace early on in the second 45. But again, things started to get physical. Meza chopped down here, would get a yellow card for this retaliation, and she would eventually come off after being injured later in that second half. Couple of good chances for Honduras as that second half developed. For Sanchez there, that was her last shot before exiting for a sub. This was probably their best chance that they did not score from, as they were looking for the go-ahead goal here, as it went out for a goal kick. But then, this was the decisive play at the beginning of stoppage time. Knocked up into the air, and then curls around back over the line. Just misplayed by the keeper, Ame, and she couldn't recover. Her own defender actually got in the way trying to help out. but just an absolutely devastating blow late in this game. Each team with a goal in stoppage time. Trinidad at the end of the first half, Honduras here at the end of the game. And Honduras gets their first and only win, 2-1 the final over Trinidad, as the host nation here at the Boldon Stadium goes winless in the group. Honduras winds up out shooting Trinidad and Tobago in terms of overall shots, even though shots on frame were even at 4 apiece, and Trinidad does wind up with more possession in the game overall. So the final standings in Group C will feature Honduras in third place with 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 draw, and Trinidad with 3 losses from 3 games. The U.S. decisive winners of the group with 9 points, 3 wins and no losses, and the U.S. advances to the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup played later this year in Morocco. As the final from here tonight, in the last game from Group C in Trinidad and Tobago, it is Honduras 2, Trinidad 1, and good night from Trinidad and Tobago.